What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing all right.
Good.
Make sure
I just
we're
figured out,
recording.
I just figured out why we're getting a delay. Let me just fix it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to start. I don't know if you want to start just by explaining how difficult it is last couple of weeks finding shit to talk about. It's been fucking impossible.
Yeah, and like we had said earlier, I kind of touched on this on my video about the skeptic community and stuff, and I think it's sort of like you see it with other YouTubers and stuff where it seems like people are sort of like they have a lack of content. I think part of it is, school's out for summer. Like before, people would talk about what's going on at colleges. That would kind of supply a steady stream of stuff. And then there was the election going on. And now things have kind of slowed down where, you do have Trump doing things and you have the media trying to create the Russian story. But as far as young, engaging stuff for, say, the younger generation and stuff, they aren't as interested in the details of the politics and stuff like that. You have terror attacks, but there really isn't much that you can cover in an expansive way to say you could the stuff in WikiLeaks, where you could kind of dig and dig and dig.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like, I don't know if it's just because we're becoming more active, having better lives, and we're just not watching the news so much. But then I realised I haven't watched Alex Jones that much in the last 3 weeks.
Well,
So there hasn't been that many stories. I don't know if it's because his launch and all this new stuff, like with Millie Weaver.
Now, you want to hear something funny? I wonder if I could pull it up. I forget if you email them through their website or if you do it outside of there, but I'd sent them an email maybe a year or two ago when he was saying, we need to fund the organization, we need to expand, and I basically wrote him a plan and was like, listen, this is what you should do. You should set up a network. You should have each of your hosts do a show on a different topic, like Joe Biggs do military stuff and Jakari do this area and this, and have everyone set up with their own hour-long shows or whatever, and each of those can, have the commercials and everything like that. And I essentially detailed the plan he seems to be implementing now, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if they ever saw the email. I think it's kind of a common sense plan, so I wouldn't give myself too much credit, but just kind of showing the mindset. Like, this is what I thought he should have done a while ago. Give each of the hosts their own show and stuff like that.
Well, just to warn the audience, you're going to hear the first headline, and then you might want to turn off. It's not going to get any better than this. So I thought I'd start off, just set the tone. If you can put into Google, because you're going to have to see the story yourself. Oxford romped goat. Romped as in sexually, romped a goat. I thought I'd kick it off there. Because this is kind of like one of the first conversations we ever had. Not romping goats, but where this story's going to end up going. You've seen it. This Oxford party got in trouble for having this secret society party, and they were fucking goats.
Oxford took off bash, romped with a goat. What is that, July 2nd? Yeah, here's an article in The Sun about it.
Yeah, it got covered by quite a few newspapers, and I think it kind of gives the impression, isn't it cool? They do sex orgies. It's all about having sex with masks on. Or don't be a prude. It's like no. It's about fucking animals as well, beastality, and we know it goes one step probably beyond that, where they just don't mention that bit. Yeah. I thought you'd like that news story.
Yeah, That's hysterical.
What do you think's going on there, Jamie? What do you reckon?
Well, wasn't that the same school with what's his name and the pig? Cameron and the pig, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was Oxford.
That was the Beastality Club,
yeah.
And then I'm gonna sort of the one that you brought up. We may as well talk about sex for a while. Is In The Guardian, they had an article about having kids causes climate change.
Really? Well,
yeah, check that out.
The thing, they've been pushing that for a while on the sort of Western white population. Is it unethical to have kids in an era of climate change? Where at first they were saying, overpopulation and this and that, but you're right, it's being pushed by all the leftist publication, even women's magazines like Elle. Having children is one of the most destructive things you can do. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty. I thought the article was a bit strong.
Yeah.
So it's just like what we always talk about, the depopulation program, the attack on, it's either attack on women, men can't be men anymore, and now it's like you can't even have kids. Do you want to see another favourite article I found? You must have seen this. Keep it on the same thing. Teen Vogue. Have you seen Teen Vogue magazine?
No.
They had an article telling what this magazine's aimed at 11 to 17-year-olds. The article was telling them how to have safe anal sex and how to avoid the dangers and the risks associated with anal sex.
What was that in Teen Vogue?
So kind of like promoting it. Type in Teen Vogue anal sex.
Oh yeah. Yeah, in a Breitbart thing, tutorial on anal sex omits serious risks. Breitbart did a Teen Vogue has mothers furious over article that's a how-to on anal sex. Yeah, they're getting some backlash for that. You know, there was a story in New York where let me see, teacher kids to sex shop. I think it was called the Smitten Kitten in New York, in one of these ritzy ritzy New York private schools, like a middle school basically. Let's see, was it? Oh no, maybe it was in Minnesota. They took the kids to a sex shop so they could better explain, you know, how lesbians have sex or something. And of course, it's in the name of tolerance and diversity, and we need to teach them, because if you're teaching them sex ed, well, now you need to teach them how gay people have sex and all different kinds of sex. And you know, let me bring this up since this is being talked about.
If we've still got any listeners, I doubt it after them two articles.
Now, I guess I'll devolve into the sort of gossipy end of things, or just comment on the gossipy end of things. Have you seen Lacey Green did an interview with Dave Rubin this week?
No.
You know who Lacey Green is, right?
That big boobed feminist that turned the page.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. And that's the kind of the point I want to make. You know, in the interview with Dave Rubin, she's asked a bunch of questions, and she basically is putting forth this case that she hasn't changed. She hasn't turned a page or anything like that. That she was lumped in with social justice warriors, and she doesn't know why, because she claims she, you know, doesn't hold all of their views. But as he's questioning her and even taking viewer questions and everything like that, she holds all of those same views. The only thing that she isn't for, basically, is silencing people. Like, she thinks people should be allowed to talk and you shouldn't no-platform people. So, I mean, there's, like, one extreme aspect that, you know, other social justice warriors have that she doesn't. But other than that, she's on the same page with them with 90% of the issues. And that's one of the other comments I had in my video about the people in the quote-unquote skeptic community. They do all of this effort to distance themselves from feminists, from social justice warriors, and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they stand with them on the majority of issues as far as government entitlement, you know, liberal Democrat policies and stuff. So she hasn't changed as much as it's made out to be.
Well, this story runs along with that kind of idea, which I think I mentioned to you earlier. If you could type in London Underground, ladies and gentlemen, just so people know, if you get on a train in England, pretty much in general, but especially on the Underground in London, the announcement for the trains, you know, which stops coming up next, would always be, ladies and gentlemen, the next stop is Charing Cross. Ladies and gentlemen, the next stop is Wembley. You know, it's how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have all your luggage with you at all times. It's always been like that. Now they can't say that anymore. They can't say, ladies and gentlemen. You reading that?
Yeah, I'm reading it. I got it on the Telegraph and Time magazine, and I'm kind of baffled in thinking how when there was first the push for gay marriage, and I mean I was even a liberal then, and I would hear these arguments that it was going to like destroy society and just undermine everything, and then I was just sort of like, what are you talking about? You're just letting two people get married, like let them do whatever they want to do. But I didn't understand the agenda it was a part of. Like, I was just sort of looking at that one isolated thing of it. But, I mean, it was really like the crack in the dam, where now they're, like, trying to erase the genders. And, you know, certain schools won't use the phrases mother and father. And
because it won't take long. I mean, if you just raise kids, I mean, a lot of the kids I know, and not kids, I suppose 17-year-olds, 20-year-olds, they don't want any kind of serious relationship ever. Yeah. It's all fun, no kids. And you think it is going to get to a stage where kids having a family isn't going to be acceptable.
Yeah. And at this rate, I feel like
and if you do, you'd like have to, with sperm rate going down at 90%, and like women not being fertile anymore, you might need help from the government to actually have a child, and you'd need like some sort of government approval before you could do it.
Yep. This is getting into very dystopic, eugenics-based ridiculousness real quick.
I'm just gonna steal your story because it fits in, and just to round it all off, what you brought up was the gay Muslim wedding in England, and I mean that is just absolutely giant, because what Muslims are actually going to accept gay marriage?
Not many.
And what happens if you do it in Iran?
Oh, you'd end up, your honeymoon would be spent getting thrown off the top of a roof. BBC actually just did a thing. Gay Muslim wedding, groom receives acid attack.
Yeah, there's been loads of acid attacks in the last week in London. We had like 8 in just the space of like 70 minutes. And it looks like the same gang were like shooting people as well. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to go back. I mean, you're going to get thrown off a building if you do it in Iran. But I didn't know this until I watched Paul Joseph Watson. Was that sex change operations are going through the roof in Iran?
Yeah.
So people can at least be gay. Yeah. And it just reminds me of like he said, like the feminists wearing hijabs. It's just like complete fucking insanity. I mean, are they seriously saying that Islam and the gay community, there could be some kind of middle ground?
Here's the crazy thing. Now imagine if that middle ground is sex change operations. Then you're going to have a sort of explosion in transgender stuff where it's going to be like, that's the only way you'll be allowed to be gay, is to switch from one gender to another.
I mean, maybe for the sake of research, I could take you on holiday to Iran. We could have like a really public gay kiss, and just see what happens for the YouTube channel. You know, people might be interested.
Oh man,
just get some views.
I doubt we would end up making our way back.
You up for it? I mean, just for like a YouTube video.
Yeah, sure. In other news, you had 2 people this week, Klaus Eberwein and Peter W. Smith. One was looking into the Clintons and the DNC stuff and everything like that, and the other one was looking into the money laundering in Haiti, and they both have died under suspicious circumstances.
What are you trying to say, Jamie?
I think the Clintons are tying up loose ends.
Yeah, but it's not as if they've got a reputation of that, though, is it?
Not at all.
You sure they've done that?
Who knows? I have no proof, but they certainly end up having lots of people who are against them end up passing away.
Have you brought up the sites where people go through the Hillary Clinton body count?
No, but I mean, this is going to be added to it.
Yeah, there's like a web page. You type in Hillary Clinton body count. It's one of the top 3 pages. Someone's listed like all the people and got their profile picture. Goes on for pages and pages and pages. There must be like 250 dead people on there. The first 60 are suspicious as fuck, and you're like, yeah, Hillary probably definitely had something to do with that. The next 100 are like, they were really tied to the Clintons. Their death is really suspicious as fuck. But you never know. Like, something else could have happened. And then another 60 are sort of like 50-50, like, yeah, that's dodgy as fuck. Yeah, it's like 250 of them, and 60 of them are like really blatant out of those. Like one of them, well, it's happened a few times actually in there. It's like the guy will have his legs like chopped off, his arms chopped off, 2 bullet holes in the head, thrown in a dumpster, and they'll be like, oh, they'd be ruled a suicide.
Yeah, here's the thing on WorldNet Daily, though, where it says, left-leaning fact-check websites have dismissed Clinton body count lists circulating on the web for many years. In fact, some of these lists mention 80 to 100 people and contain names of individuals who are still living or loosely connected with the Clintons. However, WorldNet Daily has sorted through the names and found the 33 most mysterious deaths linked to Bill and Hillary. Notably, the largest number of mysterious deaths occurred during the most intense years of the Whitewater investigation from 1993 to around 1996. The following is WorldNet Daily's list of 33 people associated with the Clintons who have died the most mysterious and often violent.
I bet Barry Sills is number one.
So, you know, it seems like what they've done is there is a lengthy list of people. I would assume it's probably around 60 to 70, but they've probably circulated these fake lists with extra names just to like muddy the water as disinformation and stuff. This has Seth Rich on it. I mean, now you have to update it since there are these 2 new ones.
Here's a good story you want to put into Google. I should have done this one a bit earlier. But you know the Sweden rape crisis that we keep ranting about? Half of those victims are children.
Let's see. Police warn of child rape epidemic in Migrant. Oh, that's Malmo. That's an older article.
Yeah, if you just write Sweden rape, half of victims are kids. Use the word kids. It'll come up. If not, it's no biggie. You can bring up my favourite news article of the week. You're gonna laugh. There's this little video we can watch together. It's like a. The UK got like a public announcement video from Sky News. It was really good. It's about what to do if there's a terror attack, and I think it's just I was baffled about what I would do, but now this video's come out, I think it's pretty clear. So you put Sky News what to do in an attack. I think just for your own safety, Jamie, it's going to help you out.
Let's see.
Do you want to guess what the advice is?
Run, hide, tell. That's what it says here. What holidaymakers should do in a terror attack situation. Police say there's no specific intelligence that UK holidaymakers should be targeted, but a video.
There's no reason for this. It's just made this just because there's no other news going on. Like Wimbledon's a bit boring. Fuck all terror attacks. There's not much going on in the news. So we just thought we'd just make a public announcement just in case this happens in the future. It's not as if there's a trend of this happening.
Yeah.
And it's just like I shouldn't laugh at the video, but it's just oh god. It's basically surrender, isn't it? Why didn't they just say that? Just surrender.
Yeah. It pretty much is.
That would have saved them like 5 minutes and a lot of money and a lot of they wouldn't need all those actors.
I mean, this is just run.
It's kind of like normalising it, like Theresa May. It's just like that drone.
You know what it.
We won't let it. Jamie,
you know what the most important.
Don't talk about it. No, Jamie. No, Jamie.
The underlying message...
No, Jamie, it's fine. Just carry on.
The underlying message of all of it, though, is don't be a hero. Because they want it so that, you know, if the idea of doing something to defend yourselves isn't even...
Oh, that would be wrong. That would be racist.
The only people who can save you is government. Run, hide, tell the government.
Yeah, just wait for them to come.
Who put this video together?
Sky News. Well, I don't know. It might be a government video, and Sky News just covered it. I mean, I just watched it, felt sick, turned it off, played Xbox.
Barricade yourself in.
Yeah. They should be saying right. Start talking about gun rights. Well, why don't you talk about controlling the border? That might help. Stop
Yeah, right.
Talk about stopping the border. The other thing we could talk about is the problem with Islam.
Try not to get trapped, but you just barricaded yourself in somewhere. What the hell?
Jamie, just carry on. Yeah, but why don't we talk about the problem of Islam and how it doesn't mix with the West, and that's why we're having the attacks? Why don't we do that? Why don't we talk about the 20,000 terrorists that are in London that the returning ISIS fighters and how we're going to deal with that problem? Why don't we do something about that?
You know, this really is like normalizing the West becoming the third world.
Yeah, it's just like embrace it. Embrace your death. Like if you can be shot by a terrorist, it's not that bad if you lose a kid on holiday, is it?
Right.
Because they're just bad for the environment anyway. ISIS are doing the environment a favour. Like they're probably so concerned about climate change that's why they're doing this. Like if they can just run over 80 people, think how much less carbon that is in the planet. Yeah, I mean I'm surprised they're not having to go at ISIS for using trucks. I mean think about the fucking environment. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god. Now it's even like the police fucking may not know the difference between you and the attacker, so now they're gonna point guns at you and...
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really hard to tell the difference between me and Jamie and an ISIS attacker. There's no like key attributes telling the difference, is there? There's just none, because profiling doesn't work. That's why the FBI have used it for ever since they've been around. It's why police use it. It's because it doesn't work. Profiling doesn't work. There's no point just looking for brown people with beards. They're probably innocent.
Rare? You guys are having terror attacks at the rate that people imagine Americans have school shootings.
Yeah, but you only hear about the ones they report about, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't... That acid attack, I barely heard about that. The one where the people just drove...
Yeah, and a few shootings, I don't know if it's Islam related, because they haven't caught the people.
Yeah. But, I mean... You can assume it is because they don't address that aspect of it. So if they wanted to, they'll feel like they're going to get a pass because they know that the media doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, I wonder if there's a bit of conspiracy going on with that as well, with the acid attacks. Because every dumb fuck that comments on the story on Facebook goes, oh, we need to regulate acid. How the fuck did they get acid in the first place? Surely you need a license to get acid. And it's like, you probably do need to get a license to get acid. But an acid attack is like a term. They don't literally mean they've used, acid. It's like anything they can get in the kitchen that's going to burn the place if you throw it on someone's face.
It could be like drain cleaner or something.
Yeah, I don't want to be a sicko, but I reckon if I just put sugar in hot water and threw it over you, that would be counted as an acid attack. It's just water and sugar. Whilst I'm on London, I'll quickly bash this one out just to recap on the London fire. If you can put this in, but people are saying that some judge said that the London fire wasn't because of the fridge caught fire. Well, the fridge did catch fire, but why did it catch fire? Because you think there's a hot point fridge, which is like a really big company in the UK that supplies fridges. They're giant. If a fridge caused that much damage, wouldn't Hotpoint have to make some kind of statement, maybe recall the product, really have an investigation into why their product killed so many people?
Yeah, you'd think so.
But Hotpoint are probably going, no, we're not writing on the instruction manual, you can't keep explosives in your fridge.
Because it's common sense.
Well, maybe they should start putting it on there. Because apparently that's what happened. It makes sense. I mean, some explosives have to be kept in a fridge.
I guess, but why would you be handling... You wouldn't be handling explosives in like a personal setting like that. At least you would think.
I don't know if that article's come up about the judge talking about it, but the other thing that's going on with this is that the official death count now is at 82, I think. They still won't admit that at least 300 people are dead.
Really?
Yeah, why are they keeping a number so fucking low? Because all the residents are going mental, going like people that lived there, going, look, we know who's missing. It's not, mate, they were there yesterday, they're not here today. Why aren't they on the list? Like, where are they? So everyone's going absolutely ballistic over it.
Well, here's an article even. A cladding company central to the Grenfell Tower tragedy hired a top PR firm just hours after the inferno began.
Yeah, that's not suspicious. But the other thing about the cladding was when they built it, they said, right, you have to use this cladding. And then the government ignored that and changed it and brought in their own cladding supply, which they knew was flammable. So the original plans didn't have that cladding, and the government changed it. And the other thing I want to say is there's lots of empty flats in London, like there's loads of them that are boarded up. But instead of using them to rehouse people, they're leaving them boarded up and putting them into these really expensive plush £1 million pads. You think, well, why aren't you regenerating these empty flats? And with the other thing is, it's a bit boring, but there's been lots of other tower fires, lots of other residential fires. Camden Market caught on fire. There's just been non-stop fires in London, and you think, are they just trying to move the poor people out?
Possibly, but I mean, then I'd wonder why they're putting them up in like nice places.
Because their mates own the nice places, so the government are paying the rent. Who's paying the rent for that £1 million pad? Who do you think's paying the rent?
Government.
Yeah, I'm paying for it. And then who owns that pad?
Friends of the politicians.
You would have thought. Yeah. And you would have thought it just made common sense. Well, if it's £1 million, why don't you put that £1 million on all these empty flats that need regenerating? It's because they don't want them living there. There's going to be lots of more money passing hands when that tower has to be knocked down. All the other ones, which aren't up to the fire standards, they're going to get knocked down. And what do you think it's going to be replaced with? Affordable housing in London? Do you think they're just going to go, oh, we need more affordable housing in London? Or is it going to be like for the Saudi Arabians to fight their friends down? And it's going to be like £1 million for a tiny little apartment. So where's all that money going to go, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just too suspicious.
No, I think it's especially if there's more fires. And I mean, it's so shady how even here's like a New York Times article that came out last week.
At some point, they are actually going to have to rehouse the poor people. So that means they can have another building project going up north. So it's crazy. But I can't figure out why they're keeping the death toll so low. Why they're not just saying, yeah, it's 300 people at least.
London's deadliest fire since World War II. been challenged by survivors and their advocates. Yeah, there's a whole New York Times article from last week about how no one can agree on the numbers and how it's shady. Some people, they're saying 81 have died. Other people are estimating 103. Some people are saying it's in the 90s.
And I've only got two more little stories left, and one of them brings it back to what you've been talking about a lot in the video that you last did. Was you have to bear with me while I bring it full circle. But what's happening with cryptocurrencies? Like, it was meant to be all guns blazing, right? A couple of weeks ago, it was like Bitcoin's $3,000. Now I don't know if you noticed it. I don't know if you're in the same circles I am. But the amount of Bitcoin experts that started popping up everywhere, going, I can teach you to become a Bitcoin trader and a cryptocurrency trader. Buy this coin, buy that coin. What do you think of this coin? Oh, buy Strat, buy ETH, buy Litecoin, buy this coin, buy weed coin, buy porn coin, get this coin. Oh, this coin's only a couple of cents. Oh, now it's $1. Now it's a cent. And now it's dropped to
they almost like a Bitcoin bubble.
Yeah, and you think is the bubble caused by all these dickheads that came on because it just suddenly hit £3,000? Oh, suddenly I am an expert on Bitcoin. Oh, you know, look at me, I know financial stuff. They all started trading in between each other, and then they all just pulled their money out. Because at the same time,
so sort of like
Bitcoin
a pump and dump.
It's kind of like a social media pump and dump that so many people got hyped. They're like, oh, I'm a trader. Oh, look, I'm making money. Oh, look how much money I've made. They all start these Facebook accounts going, they all start their courses on how to be a Bitcoin trader, you know. And then as soon as they all start doing it, they think, oh, there's too many people doing this now. There's only so much I can talk about. I'm going to go do something else. They pull their money out of Bitcoin. Because at the same time you see Bitcoin dropping, you're seeing less and less people doing these YouTube shows about how they're an expert in Bitcoin. It's dropped loads, man. Like, I was going to buy some on Saturday and I didn't have time. Just in the last 24 hours, it's dropped another £130. That's not dollars, that's pounds. I don't know how much that is in dollars, maybe $170.
Yeah, here's some of the headlines. Cryptocurrency market nears 50% decline from all-time low. Bitcoin drops below 2,000 as crypto market falls towards 70 billion. What is this one? Ethereum briefly crashes 20% to a 7-week low amid worries about rival Bitcoin's future.
The other thing it could be, which is my conspiracy hat, is if I was a global elite banker, and I know that Bitcoin, I mean, I do not know shit about Bitcoin, disclaimer, I don't know shit, but it seems like the transactions are really slow, so they're going to use a new platform, and the whole community is agreeing on what that platform will be, and once that platform's made, you're going to see some big boys joining it. And what I mean by big boys is governments are now starting to accept cryptocurrency. They're starting to take it on board. It would also be good just for cashless society. I don't want to get too boring, but if you look at Venezuela, they might start relying on Bitcoin when things get that as bad as what it is in Venezuela. You look at what they did in Cyprus, I don't know if you know, but they stopped people withdrawing cash in Cyprus.
I remember that.
And you know, they would probably go to cryptocurrency. So you think, did the bank pump it? If anyone would do a pump and dump, wouldn't it be a bank?
Yeah.
And then once they do it, they can buy all these bitcoins dirt cheap and just pump it a bit more. And it goes, I wanted to bring it full circle, because what I'm trying to say is I don't have a fucking clue about Bitcoin, but if you look at the people that do know, they're all attacking that health ranger, Mike Adams, on Natural News, because his warning about how you should be careful with Bitcoin, that it could just crash at any point,
I didn't know about that.
And then everyone's attacking him. Like Jeff Berwick's attacking him non-stop. He's one of the big key spokespeople for Bitcoin. It's like going, oh, Mike Adams should just stick to nutrients and supplements and all this stuff. And he's doing all his videos, like pretending to be drunk and going, everyone sell, they're only joking. Of course Bitcoin's going to go back up. Now I was just wondering what you thought about Bitcoin. I mean, it's what would you do? Would you invest in it, or do you think it's dodgy as hell? Do you think it will get replaced?
You know, even after the interviews I did on it, I still don't understand how it's tangible. Like, and I guess that's the point, that it's kind of not. But the mining and all of that aspect of it, I just don't know. I mean, here's a funny article, though, on Natural News. Bitcoin plummets nearly $400 just hour after Health Ranger warns of catastrophic correction.
So why are they attacking Mike Adams? He's saying that there's going to be a massive correction.
And he was right.
And they go, Mike Adams should just stick to supplements.
Well, because he was right.
Type in Jeff Berwick, Mike Adams, and you can see how it's just absolutely trolling him.
Let me see.
I do like Jeff Berwick quite a lot, so I'm not like having a go or anything. But
you know, part of it, I think, is why. Oh, Jeff Berwick is who I thought he was.
But it goes back to what you're saying, that there seems to be so little news at the moment, that people are going back and forth at the moment, attacking each other because they have like this different.
Yeah,
opinion.
you know what I think part of the problem is.
And you're either in the Jeff Berwick camp or you're in the Natural News camp. You can't just not know. You've got to be in one of the camps. And if you're not, then you're just a government apologist. You know?
Part of it is, I think that the people realize that a lot of this, especially the Bitcoin currencies, because again, it isn't anything tangible. It's all just ones and zeros and data in a computer. And, granted, some of
It's not because it does have a blockchain, which means it can be followed all the way back. And it does. The other thing I don't get is it's meant to be anonymous. You try buying Bitcoin, you tell me how anonymous it is.
Well, yeah, because you're supposed to just
I guess you can trade in between each other anonymously, but to actually buy it, you need to put your passport in there. You got to put your bank details in, your driving license.
Here's the thing. I mean, I understand, I guess it is, again, the technical aspects of it and everything like that, but it's not like gold. It's not, when I say it's not tangible, it's not like gold. You can't hold it. It is just data. It's in the coding and the blockchain is the code, basically. It's still ones and zeros and all that. So its livelihood depends on how much faith people have in it. Like, it's still very much like the dollar, and the dollar being digital currencies on an ATM card. I mean, and in some ways, I guess they've had to do it just so that it can be user-friendly, so that people can use it like they would normal money. But I think that's why they'd be so willing to attack a naysayer, because they realize, like you said, if someone puts something out like that and people agree with it, well, then they're going to start pulling their money out, and it's going to start, other people doing that, and then it will lose its value.
In the other is, because Bitcoin's doing so well, they don't understand how small it is in the marketplace. Like, I don't know how many billions it does a day or a month, but I don't think it's actually that much. I'm not putting Bitcoin down, but what people don't realise is if someone holds, let's say they've got 500 to 1,000 Bitcoins, which there are people out there that have got that kind of stuff in their wallet, what happens if they pull out the whole 1,000, just one person goes, right, I'm going to cash out now at 1,000. How much does that drop the whole pot down? I reckon at a guess, and I don't know shit, but you could be looking at an $80 crash just from one person. And that's what I mean. It's a really, volatile environment to be in. Yeah, the numbers look good, but it only takes one person that's a kingpin in there.
Yeah, like this article is basically just saying the same exact thing I was trying to say. Bitcoin values are illusionary and do not represent the real value when attempting to exit. And he basically says that as people pull out their Bitcoins, everyone else's Bitcoins would be losing value, and that it sort of resembles a Ponzi scheme rather than a practical currency.
Yeah, it could become a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
But the other thing which I've got to give it to the Bitcoin people is if all this new technology comes out in August, like banks start saying it's okay to use, government start saying it, and then they realise, right, we've got to increase the infrastructure and they've got to get that new program through to get the transactions faster. Maybe the banks did pump it, so when it actually properly goes through the roof in August, they can buy it pennies off of a pound.
Like here,
so maybe they pumped and dumped it, and then when everyone else starts going, right, fuck it, I'm going to sell at $1,600, then they can just buy them all back, and then when it goes, instead of hitting 3,000, it finally hits 15,000 a Bitcoin. Until it finally hits $1 million. Because if it did hit $15,000 a Bitcoin by August, say it crashed and then just suddenly shot because everyone starts using it, banks start using it, governments say, okay, we're going to start regulating it. And it did, like, I know it's just a number I'm pulling out my ass, but let's just say it hit $15,000. That's going to price nearly every fucker out.
Like here's the numbers he sort of broke down, where it's like there's you have like 16 million Bitcoins and they're roughly at $250,000. 1,000 Bitcoins represent 0.006% of the total amount of Bitcoins, right? So if someone sells off 1,000 Bitcoins, that will lower the valued price of the Bitcoin by $30. If someone sells off 10,000 of them, that will lower it by $300. If someone sold off 100,000 Bitcoins, which is just 0.6 of the Bitcoin supply, it will lower it $3,000. But it says, but wait, Bitcoin is only worth 250. So wouldn't a sell-off of $100,000 plunge Bitcoin price towards zero? Yes, it would. The value of Bitcoin, if just 1% of current Bitcoin owners try to sell all their Bitcoins, would send the price to zero. So he says the actual percentage of current Bitcoin owners who can unload Bitcoins without crashing Bitcoin values towards zero is maybe 1 or 2% of people. And then 99 to 98% of everyone else is going to be screwed.
And what was Bitcoin worth based on that article?
That was when it was worth 2,500. So 250,000.
So I wasn't miles out. If I was basing that based on it being worth 3,000, that's about $30 out. So it's the same principle, I guess. I guess I was quite a bit out. That's about what, a good 50-60% out, actually. Yeah. I had the right idea at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's at £1,600. I don't know how much that is in dollars. I guess it's about 1,800.
Yeah, it says it's basically the dot-com bubble all over again for a new generation.
What do you think will happen to it?
You know,
I think banks might just release their own version of it.
They might, and then they might just better regulate what you're allowed to do with it and what you can't, so that you can't
and start offering.
I mean, I do think the blockchaining, from some of the interviews I did with other people, I think there's really good practical applications for the blockchaining, like as far as copywriting and things like that.
Yeah, like you see it with social media, with the FeedMe and the STEEMIT.
But I don't, and as far as generating revenue on other created content and stuff like that, but I don't know if it's practical in terms of currency. It doesn't seem to be. Let's see. Bitcoin endgame a mathematical certainty, even as Japanese and Korean noobs convince kindergarten teachers they've stumbled upon a magical source of endless wealth. Like, and that's one of the things it says in the one article. In order for it to keep going, more people have to keep buying in.
My honest answer is, I'm still tempted to buy some. I actually think it might hit a million. I'm still in the fairy tale, you know, that it could actually hit.
You know what I did see? I saw a thing where Microsoft has put out a new autonomous security drone thing, and they're selling off through the company Seed Invest. They're selling off shares in that for pretty cheap, but you need like $1,000 to buy in. I wish I could buy into that. I think.
Well, I've got $1,000. What do you think?
I'll send you the link. I mean, it's it's stuff that I think is sort of inevitable. Having little security drones going around the malls and things like that.
No, that was in the UK this week. The police were showing off that they've got drones that can run for 24 hours.
Yeah, they've got
and because they run 24 hours, they can just swap them daily. So you can have constant drones in the sky. They're just going, I imagine how much safer you'd feel.
Yeah.
So what was it? What was it called?
Nightscope. I sent you the thing, but they had like a little commercial for it.
What, you put $1,000 in?
And you get a bunch of shares in the company, I guess.
Do you think it's a bit unmoral doing that though?
No, I think in terms of like I don't think malls and parking lots and stuff like that really need a security guard. Like I think that's one of the applications where you could have a drone. Like hell, I think you should even double the feature so it cleans the floor while it's going around.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
Delivers pizzas.
In terms of like public shopping areas, well, I mean, even think of it like that. If they load it up with like an AI where you could ask it questions, like instead of having the little kiosks with the map of the mall, you'll just see a little drone going by, and you could be like, "Oh, where's the electronics store?" And it would be like, "Oh, 3 stores down on your right." There you go. Like, I mean,
better than that, it'll go, what do you want? And you go, oh, a torch. And then some other drone will fly the torch to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think automation is good in terms like that, as far as making life easier and things like that. I think there's lots of, I don't like it in terms of like, you got an old person in a nursing home, we're just going to give it a robot as a friend. I think that's very dehumanizing and fucked up, like the high-tech sex bots and all the headlines I see about that. But in terms of like a little,
have you not ordered one yet?
No. In terms of like,
do you want me to get you one?
In terms of a little security drone, I don't think there's any real harm in that.
Well, other than the obvious privacy, I guess.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. In somewhere like a mall or a public place, you don't really have privacy there anyway. Yeah. As long as it's not doing shady shit like hacking your phone while it goes by or something, which, I mean, you got to worry about that with Google and the Google cars and everything. But
you had one last story, if you want to finish on that, which was the Natural News Chemo. So I haven't read it. But I remember
well, something people, and as people can see on the video, I did set up a blog for us. I'm still working on it, but you can check it out. It's newworldnewsnetwork.blogspot.com, or you can just go to JamieStarr.org and find the link there. But yeah, Natural News has done a story that, a lot of people have thought for a while now, which is chemotherapy is actually found to spread cancer cells rather than kill them. And I didn't really... Let's see, new research conducted at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University found that chemotherapy spreads cancer throughout the body, causing a sharp increase in cancer cells circulating through the body. Research is focused on chemotherapy treatment of breast cancer, but further studies plan to show how chemotherapy might spread cancer cells to other tissues.
And nobody even saw it coming. I'm so shocked.
I mean, I had heard for a while that it kind of just puts it into remission and then they come back stronger and resistant to the chemotherapy. But it says right here, chemotherapy spreads cancer, generating repeat business for the for-profit cancer industry. In other words, even though chemotherapy shrinks tumors, it also is spreading cancer through the body, functioning as an activation for future cancer.
My ex was a surgeon for 25 years and even had cancer, and she said that 3 chemo sessions is ridiculous because the chemo will kill you at that point. It's probably worth considering doing one. Risky as fuck, but if you've got cancer, definitely worth considering the chemo. But once you need it a second time and a third time, you got a good chance of the chemo killing you. So I know she had chemo once, and then she wouldn't do it the second or third time because she knew what the risks were.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
And her family
That's
had
essentially what happened to my grandmother. You know, she did a round of chemo, it fucking almost killed her, and then she came back with a full year of good health, and then the cancer came back, and then she ended up dying.
Yeah, sad.
So, it's rather depressing, but the thing is like it says here, this research confirms exactly what Natural News has reported for years, namely that chemotherapy causes cancer. The cancer industry is more interested in repeat revenues than halting cancer.
Well, I think we've done a wrap. We got goat. We started off with goat fucking. We got some anal teen sex in there. What else do people want from the show?
In cancer, we got some cancer news.
We got it all in
For
there.
anyone who wants something lighthearted and fun, check out the video me and Paul just come across, the viral video Alex Jones rants as a Bon Iver song, which is hysterical.
What did Alex Jones have to say?
He thought it
about
was great because he knows it
Really?
helps them rather than hurts them. So
he does ask
Yeah.
for it though.
So, and hopefully I'm going to start getting things straightened out. So this episode,
Maybe that's what we should do to get massive
remixes
numbers.
of
It's just no, easier than that. Just call Alex Jones a shill. Just call him a Jew.
yeah,
I bet you we get at least 10,000 of that one video.
say that he works for Israel.
Yeah. And also, I met him. Here are the photos. He's definitely Israeli. I'm a Jew too. That's why I got any insight.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully I'll get everything situated so people can also start getting these podcasts on Blog Talk Radio and iTunes and all the other formats, and try and make everything more accessible to everyone on all outlets and platforms and all that stuff.
Yeah, and send some work my way. I've got a couple of free hours.
Yeah.
ago.
When you get a chance, message me your email address so I can do all that stuff. But all right, so I guess
that was really tough. Just so people know, it's been so quiet. I'm surprised we got that many good stories.
got an hour basically. So
tough gig.
We'll try to do more planning for next week.
We'll try and beat goat fucking.
Yeah, we'll try to get some pictures from inside that party. So
and the pig fucking. But at least with the pig fucking, it's fucking a pig's head. So at least they're taking the pig from the right end.
I suppose
You gotta give them credit for that. Because usually in Westminster, they're fucking from behind kids. So I mean, the fact he's done it from the right end is just
a little more respectable.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's unclear, like I said before, if the pig was dead beforehand or whether it killed itself, decapitated itself in disgust of being, because it was porked by the biggest porker of, wasn't it? It's like the pork was porked by the biggest porker.
Yeah, and you know, Cameron.
That should have been the headline. Yeah, Cameron's the porker. So the pork was porked by the biggest porker.
All right, well,
Yeah.
that's that for the week. So, I will talk to you later, man.
Yeah, maybe see you in Portugal.
Hopefully. All right, take care.
Right. See ya, man.